This week on the Phantom Cave Reviews YouTube channel, we're going to be having a look and reviewing the Phantom, the complete DC Comics Volume Number 2 by Hermes Price. So this is Volume 2 of 3, and we're also in this comic book series, we're also going to be reviewing Volume Number 3, of course, of 3. Out of this series published by Hermes Press. And so let's get into reviewing this book, volume number 2 of 3 from Complete DC Comics. Volume number 2 is quite a big book, and then it's quite a solid book as well. Like, you can hear that coming through the speaker right now, but look at that. It's quite a solid quality published book. It was really good. That is the front cover. This is the back cover, and it just has some information, the cover of one of the books. That is the interior, the first part of the interior of this magical book, The Phantom, DC Comics Volume Number 2. Published by Hermes Press. The Phantom. Contents: we have a focus on Mark Verheiden and an interview on Luke McDonald. Pages 4 and 6. The Phantom. The covers to issue 3 and 8. The stories are wrote by Mark Verheiden. Artwork by Luke McDonald. Pencils and inks. So this volume number 2 covers the second series that were published by DC Phantom Comics, published by DC Comics, and this is the second series. The first series had 4 issues. This second series has 13, and it's really good. Really good. That was the focus on Mark Verheiden. Just look at that. Incredible work just there. Incredible it is. Really nice. Looking black and white art just right there. Opposite page is original Luke McDonald original artwork for cover for The Phantom, issue number 11 from January 1990. So that's where that's from. And then we've got a interview with Luke McDonald, The Phantom, and comics. We'll have a look at this pencil drawing on the other side here. A full in-depth look. Look at that. That is really cool. I remember looking at artworks that were, years and years ago, I was talking to Bill Reinhold, and he was working on, back in the 90s, he was working on the Phantom 2040 series with legendary Spider-Man writer and illustrator, Steve Ditko. And a lot of the pages that will show up on the screen right now, a lot of the pages remind me of these finer work on the pencils. Like, look at that fine edge work on the Phantom, and then just all the rough little bits and pieces just there. But this reminds me of some of the artworks and drawings of the photos that Bill Reinhold had sent me for the interview. And yeah, I found looking at artworks and original pieces really interesting. And yeah, it's just interesting to look at how they actually draw and come up with the idea of it all. Let's get into the story. Without further ado, let's get into this story. See, just look at that. That is beautiful. Beautiful. Ink for dramatic effect. Really nice. Really nice. And then we've got some of his work across the comics, other comic books like Iron Man, and we've got original art for cover for the Iron Man issue number 186. It came out in September 1984. We've got 1984 characters. We've got another Iron Man interior page art for Iron Man, issue number 192 from 1985, and Star Wars, issue number 78 from 1983. Really, really nice pieces. I like that one. That one's really, really nice. That was really dramatic. Yeah, that's cool. We've also got some other comic book pieces that he has worked on as well. A lot of nice pieces there. That one's very dramatic. And then we have the Phantom versus the Pirates. So the Phantom, he's up against the Pirates. These pirates. Dead Man's Chest. He is going in to another village where he is going with his son to the movies to watch this movie called Dead Man's Chest. So he goes and watches the movie, and the Phantom of that age doesn't really like these kind of movies, but he takes his son anyway, just because it's what you do, really. It's what you do. And then he remembers something that actually happened. These people are on this boat, and this boat is traveling out into the open sea. And then it's attacked by pirates. They come and they attack and they loot. The Phantom hears of it, and he comes and he wants to take action. He goes on to a boat of his own and hires 2 jungle patrolmen and women. And so he hires the boat, and they go and he remembers a lot of his childhood. And then they say, "The Phantom is dead. Long live the Phantom!" And so he's on his boat. He's wanting to track down these particular pirates that have been going around and smuggling rich people's boats. And he wants to find where all these boats are and why they're being kept. These pirates are lured in. They take the boats. They take it to where all these boats are, and then the Phantom comes out. He gets whacked. He whacks another person. They whack him eventually and siege him and capture him, and that is the end of that story. He ends up They end up capturing him, and then he's in with all the other people. He obviously escapes with those people. He plants a lot of dynamite on that boat, and when they try and escape, that boat goes up in flames, and he, the Phantom, is out of there. He is gone, and he is rescued, and he is swimming. Just keep swimming, now we have the Phantom hating the USA. Okay, strap yourselves in, because this is quite a contentious story. The Phantom, he's remembering some of his olden type days, and back in my day I used to be quite a athletic type, which he was. And he's looking at his old school yearbook, and he says, "I remember, and I should have done I should have explained to myself, but I had to go back. I have to leave this life alone." And then he says, "Diana." And he sees how beautiful Diana looks in that photo, and he just thinks, well, I better, if there's any way of me going back over to the USA, well, I better go see it. That's how it works. And so Diana goes and sees one of her old school friends, and he's running a printing press. And there are particular people who do not like what is being printed in that newspaper. So along on the story, we have a little, you'll say a little gang, a gang of not great people. They think that what they are doing is the right type of thing, but in reality, it's not. You're living in the 19th century. And I know that there are people out there that still think these ways. And it is just plainly wrong. It is plainly wrong to be thinking like this. We're in the 21st century. People are still thinking like this. And I don't know how they sleep at night, really. We're all humans. We all have at least an amount of human decency, you'd think. But no, they go and firebomb his newspaper shop, and luckily it doesn't destroy everything. It destroys most of it, and then they leave there a mark, which is you can see on the screen right now. I'm not going to read it because, yeah, it's quite wrong. There are particular people in this town who think the same way, obviously. And in this town, because of those people, the other people, the higher ranked people, like the police officers, people like that, think the same way. So if the town stays in the same way, the same direction, and it keeps going the same way, the town's never really going to change. And it only changes if force comes in and says that they have to change, and if they're not willing to change, I will change it for you. There will be no decision making afterwards. I will change it for you. So they go and do their business, and then they go and hurt some more people, and the Phantom comes and he hears of what's happening, and he goes and he says to the police officer, he says, "Stand in my way and you may be unlucky enough to find out." Now hold on, I am the law in this town, the police officer says. And he says again, "My God, what are you? Stand in my way again and you may be unlucky enough to find out. I am the Phantom, Mr. Walker." Diana, herald to the order, drop. Hold it right there, partner. I don't know who you are or what you want, but I'd have a feeling better if we spent some time together down at the jail. Devil now, what is the... Hold on, I'm the Lord this town. My God, who are you? What are you? That's... when you watch different movies and different TV shows that talk about these, you could say, specific topics, you always get a character that speaks like this. Who are you? Like, who the hell are you? I am the Lord in this town, and you will do what I tell you to do. So go into the jail cell. Something like that. Doesn't necessarily mean that's how they talk, but in my brain, that's how they talk. And if I was reading a book like this, which I have, in my brain, that's how they would talk. To an old person, yeah, they would talk however a person imagines that they would talk about. And so they go to a farm, they end up finding out. And so the way that they end up finding out where this guy lives is that all the utes that they have across America, because this organization isn't just in one town. No. It's all across America. It's everywhere. And there are other people that think the same way as all these other people in Clarksville. And they've got a rope there and they've tied it up on the tree, and they're going to, that. And so the Phantom, he comes back, and this is the next story, which is called Hate, Part 2. This Hate in the USA, and then it's Hate. Those two stories are a two-part series. So we're in this town. It's called Clarksville. It used to have a great name to it. Clarksville used to have a great reputation, but then everyone got scared because these particular people with their particular topics and their subject matter. Afterwards, people thought, "Oh, I don't want to go at night. I don't want to do this. I just stay home." So in a way, they're being fearmongered out of their own home and out of their own house, out of their own town, to even go out at night time, because they don't particularly know what's going to happen to them. And that's a scary thought. When you can't go into your own town, walk around like a normal home, normal day-to-day person. When you can't do those type of things, that's a scary thought. That is quite a scary thought. And so the Phantom needs to rescue this guy from what's going to go on here, because if he doesn't, well, safe to say that, yeah, that's going to be quite a narky page if he doesn't. He ends up escaping. He goes around, the other people get separated. He takes them one out, one by one, and then he comes and he complains, and he comes and he says, they say, "It's impossible. Who are you?" "I'm known by many names, but the most name that I am called is the Phantom." So he rescues old mate. He goes, the other guy escapes, and he ends up wanting to try and explain why he had to leave old mate that day that he would end up having to leave. And there were other kids. He could understand what old mate was going through. And Kit, can you believe it? State champions? State champions? That's rather good, isn't it? Rather, it's the biggest thing that's ever happened to this town. This whole ceremony is to honor us. And then these people, they come and they say, "That's far enough, boy. I think it's time we had a little talk." And that talk goes sideways. And he, old mate, punches old mate in the face. And they just walk off. Old mate is in the ute. They end up taking him to the hospital. And old mate gets cared for. The other old mate, the very, very villainous dude, he has Diana, and then he doesn't. Because a ute comes flying through his house, and the Phantom grabs hold of him. They take him all the way down to the street. They give him to the police, but nah, nothing is done yet. The Phantom then ends up having to tell Diana what actually happened, why he had to leave, and he shows his eyes for a split second. He wondered why. He wonders if he could have actually been able to tell his his friends and his parents and his foster parents as well. He wonders if he could have, but he knows he can't. Because, when you tell one person, you never know how many other people are going to know. And eventually one of them people goes to the newspaper shop, and this guy that runs the newspaper is about to print a story, and then he says, in fact, I think I'm giving up on that piece after all. You can't sell new papers with old news. Kit Walker returns. And he, I think, knows that his friend had returned, but he knows some way, somehow, that he shouldn't blurt it all out to the whole entire world. He knows that some way it may not be true, he may have not have came, but I think deep down inside he probably knows. And he's doing what a friend does, which is protects them. That's pretty much it. And then we have Waste, another story in this book. There is this town and this family. They have been struck hoven with a lot of sickness. Now, there's this doctor who's meant to be helping these people. When rather the Phantom hears about this, he brings Dr. Axel as well, and he goes to see these people. Now that this town is filled with corruption, these people are helping this organization corrupt their town and spread, pesticide. That goes into their waterways, they drink it, and they end up getting sick. People end up getting sicker and sicker, and everyone wonders, why are these people dying? We can't figure out why. The Phantom comes, he knocks another person over. He wants to know why these people are so sick. And he goes and he finds the people. He finds the town, and then we have gold fever. Gold is one of the biggest things that ever happens. It's one of those things. And gold can lead to good things, or it can lead to quite quite a long way to not good. But the last story ends with the Phantom finding the people. He ends up and going over there and destroying their operation. And so we have gold fever. One thing I would like to point out is the coloring. The coloring in these books and in this series is nothing what I've seen before. It's nothing that I've seen before. It is just, it's beautiful. The coloring is beautiful. And the way it's done, the different techniques, you know that not only is the colorist an artist, he knows how to create different effects with different artworks. He knows what he is doing. Now, when you get a person and they don't know what they're doing, they just put a little bit of color there, a little bit of there, a little bit there, a little bit over here. This is what a person knows what they're doing. Look at that absolute creativity with colors. Look at all the different colors. This is what I'm talking about. This is peak Phantom comics. I was just blown away. I know what people are talking about with this series now. I was blown away with the different colors and how they were used by. So this story, gold starts to ruin a lot of people's lives. The Phantom ends up coming. He finds out. He ends up basically wanting to make sure that there are people who are not going to be taken advantage of. He ends up coming over and he tries to save people, but the gold fever is way too much. Another point of view with the coloring. Look at all that. Look at it. It looks beautiful. Beautiful. He ends up taking another person out. They want him to shoot another person. They shoot him. Then he goes out and takes another person out. The Phantom does. And then he destroys their operation. And that is the end of that story. Gold always leads to bad things. It can lead to good things, but most of the time it leads to bad things, which is, you'd say, greed. And it can lead to expansion of fortune and like, oh, I can do anything I want now. I'm so wealthy. But after everyone knows that you're wealthy, they all come running. They all want a piece of the pie. And now we have a new story called Apes. Now, this story is quite sad, and you'll see why. Also, shout out to the colorist called Anthony Tolan. You know where I'm going with this. Tolan Wood! It's Tolan Wood! He did an amazing job. Just look at that coloring just there. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, there is this sanctuary, and this sanctuary and this father and daughter are trying to save all these apes. People are shooting these apes. They end up coming out. The Phantom ends up making sure that they're safe. This daughter happens to not be that pleasant towards poachers, you would say. And she's wanting to protect the apes. That's all she's ever done all her life. She's wanting to protect the apes, and through all the times that she has tried, they keep bundling her down. The Phantom comes. He tries to do it. She tries and kills the people herself, but the Phantom has a better way. He punches all the people out, and eventually he saves all the apes. The apes are able to go free, and then they were gone. And she's able to go back to caring for what she loves most, the apes. She's one with the ape. And that is my comic book review of this book. It is such a high quality produced book, and I hope you enjoyed looking and reviewing this book, DC Phantom Comics Volume number 2, and I will see you in Volume number 3. As always, keep Phantom Caving.